Hello one and all, welcome back to Texas. This is my final video of my trip to Texas and I'm going around the DFW Car and Toy Museum, but first we're taking a look around the car park outside at some of the cars at the Cars and Coffee Meet. And I must say the turnout to this event was next level. The cars were superb and the Lamborghini turnout was pretty good. A new Revuelto turned up and it looks pretty cool next to the early Gallardo with a 5-litre V10. To the right of the Revuelto there is an Aventador SV and a few Huracans alongside an AMG GT Black Series, which has a much more aggressive stance and design characteristic over the AMG GTR and GTR Pro. The Aston Martin turnout here was pretty good as well, with a Vantage and a DBS Superleggera and quite a lot of British cars, more than I thought, with a McLaren 720S next to the Aston Martin Vantage. A Spider RS is one of the most iconic Porsche GT products, and I think it's probably my favourite new one, as the air intakes are right behind the passenger and the driver's heads, so it's very loud in the cockpit of one of those. And by far and away, the G63 6x6 took the biscuit for me because it's a V8 6x6 truck, and that number plate certainly speaks for the car that it is. It looks incredible and there is really no other car like this on the road. The Huracans were everywhere, and even a McLaren Artura in Texas, a hybrid V6 supercar. That's quite a surprise if I do say so. Walking around the back parking lot, there is a lot more cars, certainly not quite as special as the supercars, but more JDM, American Muscle, some Porsches and some BMWs, all the German sports cars, and this one is rather impressive, a BMW M5 CS. I actually haven't seen one of these before this moment, and it was pretty cool to see. I love the bronze accents on the CS models, and that number plate, again, like the 6x6, speaks to the car. Now, since 2020, there hasn't been many good sports cars. However, the 992.1 GT3 is the best. Here is the Bugatti Veyron, the most iconic hypercar in history, alongside the McLaren F1, here under the Texas sun. What a masterpiece. Moving on from a W16 engine, here is a V10 Lamborghini Huracan. Now, I'm not too sure if it is 5.2 with those massive modifications and what looks to be twin turbo and a parachute on the back. That car is a rocket in a straight line. Now let's head inside the museum. On a swivelling stand there is a Ferrari SF90 in a really basic but good looking spec. There aren't many like that and I really appreciate it. Moving further along the road there are some absolute classics, the Ferraris and the Mercedes, the race cars, and on my left a Spiker. I absolutely love these. I think they're such a cool little supercar or sports car, wherever you want to categorise them. Nonetheless, it's a very rare and gorgeous beast. Here is a taste of Great Britain with the Jaguar XJ220. What an iconic supercar, or arguably the beginning era of hypercars alongside the Bugatti EB110. Here is a Lamborghini Aventador, one of the earlier models, and this car really started the spark for many young motoring enthusiasts, as Jeremy Clarkson famously ragged one of these around the famous racetrack Imola. This Jag is the car that Enzo Ferrari described as the most beautiful car in the world. It is such a gorgeous beast. And the amount of British cars here stunned me, blew my mind. I can't believe there are so many British cars here in Texas. Aston Martins, Bentleys, Rolls-Royce Phantom, drop-head coupes. This thing is gorgeous, one of my dream Rolls-Royces. Moving on to the back end of the Spiker. What an unusual car and such a great stance. Here is the line of really epic cars, the Maserati MC20, the Ford GT with the EcoBoost V6, and the paint really pops on the MC20 under the light. Here we have a little Ferrari lineup with a 575 Maranello from the early 2000s, a 512 TR and a 348 Spider from the 90s, which is a pretty nice car, although I'd rather take an F355. Here is an old Aston Martin saloon. You're going to have to tell me the model because I'm not exactly sure on this one, but I'm sure somebody in the comments could know about this. But I just think it looks absolutely gorgeous with the contrasting red on the cream interior. The red AMG GT. Now this is an earlier AMG GT. It is a GTS with over 500 brake horsepower. Going to the rear wheels, it has a 4-litre bi-turbo V8. And it's a pretty impressive, good-looking GT car, a Ferrari 356 Speedster, and a really unique BMW Z1 or Z1 in America. This car is, I don't know if it's rarer than the Z8, but it's certainly a little bit more quirky. An old Volvo estate, possibly one of the best-looking shooting brakes or touring cars ever, and a DMC DeLorean, arguably one of the most iconic cars in television. And in front of it is another Volvo. It's a P1800. I absolutely love this, and I think the other one might have been a P1800, just a different variation. This is a Yugo, very famous for being, well, crap, but it's an interesting car to see, and an iconic Honda NSX sports car. And that is the end of this little quick whiz-around tour of the DFW Car and Toy Museum. I hope you enjoyed, and sending the video off with a McLaren, just driving down the road a 600 LT. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one.